for this class is a persuasive, or as your textbook prefers to call it, argument essay. I prefer persuasive. We're not about arguing in the traditional sense. We want to make a case for something that isn't obvious. And so we're going to write an essay with the idea of taking your reader along and convincing them of the position that you have. So that's the assignment for this essay. So I'm just providing you an overview here in this introduction of the basics of the assignment. This is all available on Canvas, so there's nothing surprising here, but I'm just going to go through the basics of what's required for this assignment. And then once you have had a chance to do some reading and thinking, if you have questions about a topic or about an approach, I am happy to have that conversation with you. So you've now written one essay in APA style and one essay in MLA style. You can now choose to use one or the other. If you do it right, I will know which one you've chosen to use, so you don't need to bother telling me. I should be able to see that right off the bat. They are different enough that there are some obvious clues for me. So I encourage anyone who is in nursing to use APA simply because that's what you will be using in your nursing classes when you write an essay. And I've had a couple of nursing students say, well, I don't think I'm going to be writing essays in my nursing classes. Yes, you are. We have conversations with the nursing faculty all the time, and they really want us in this class to ensure that you are leaving this class with an understanding of APA style. It's roughly about 1,500 words, give or take. That is the body of the text and not including the reference page. So make sure that you're writing it long enough. You're going to choose your topic. So as you think about the topic, just make sure that it's not something that's obvious. Do not try to argue that the earth is flat. We're not going to go there. So pick something where there is an obvious debate, there is an open debate, and there is evidence that you can use, solid, credible, research-based evidence to support your position. You're going to include at least 5 credible sources, and by now you should know what that means, and 3 of those should be scholarly, at least. And so when we're talking about a credible source, we're talking about maybe a government database or another type of source that is clearly based on good information, and at least 3 scholarly sources. I've talked about that already in class. You should know what that means. Generally speaking, it comes from a peer-reviewed academic journal. So the elements that you are going to include in your essay will be these that I've listed here. I don't need to read them to you. If you want to review them, just stop the video and go through them. This is also included on Canvas as the description of the assignment, so there's no changes here. But there are certain things I will be looking for, and they are listed here. And so make sure that you are aware of what they are and that you're including these in your essay. So now let's talk about how to make your case. I'm not going to go into huge detail here on each of these approaches. You should use all of them in your approach to your essay, and these all come out of your assigned reading in the textbook. So no surprises again. Section 7, and in particular parts 58 and 59 of that section, go into a lot of good solid detail on how to go about this. So you want to start with an issue that is open to debate, and then you want to create what points do you want to make? What's your case? Those are your claims. And then combine the use of evidence, so research data and solid reasoning, logic, and go from one step to the next to help lay out your case. It's often helpful to include arguments against your position so that you can address those. Now, if there are silly arguments against your position, leave those alone. That's typically called a straw man argument, where you set up a false argument against your position and then knock it down. Well, that doesn't really count. But if there are significant and real arguments against what you're proposing, you should address those and then rebut them. You don't have to spend a lot of time on that, but it's helpful to at least acknowledge that they're out there and to deal with them. And then have, toward the end of your essay, some analysis, discussion, and here's where writing well and writing in a more of a conversational, easy to follow approach can be very helpful. Too many academics, too many of these papers that you have to read to find the backing evidence in your scholarly research are written in stuffy and unnecessarily formal style. You don't need to do that here. You don't want it to be casual. You want it to be grammatically correct, and you want it to be formal, but it also can tell a story or can be something that would sound more like a persuasive conversation you might have face to face with a friend or somebody else. And then make sure that if there's anything that requires additional explanation, context, definitions of certain words, make sure that you've included that. That's the overview of how to begin thinking about your persuasive or argument essay. Go in and read section 7, paying particular attention to parts 58 and 59. And then as you begin to do your research and think about your topic, if you have questions about your approach, you know how to find me.